Normally, I dive into the nitty-gritty of breaking each step of my creative process to show you how things come together. It's all about unraveling the how behind my work. But this time, I want to switch things up. I'm stepping away from the usual format. Instead of a detailed breakdown, I'm just going to give you guys a super quick intro on myself and keep it real with you all. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time now, and something I've actually bounced ideas off of friends' heads about. I feel like a starving artist, navigating through jagged terrain of creativity with a pair of mismatched shoes, one sock, a pair of sweats, a hoodie with a ripped pocket, and a mind that buzzes with the relentless energy of ADHD. My days are chaotic blend of passion and frustration, where every idea is a massive tornado and every distraction is a black hole. Now let me preface this entire video with the unfortunate intro that seems to be the norm these days. These are solely my opinions and my feelings. Yep, I said it. It's cool for men to have feelings too. Everything I say is from personal experience and is used solely to either entertain you or help you in any possible way. I'm not here to change your mind or get anyone's panties in a bunch. This is a safe space and not here to yuck anybody's yum. With all that said, doing this kind of work for a living has its ups and downs. Couple that with other things like mental obstacles, physical obstacles, ignorance of specific topics or skill sets, and you could potentially have a recipe for paralysis. The good old "I'll get to it later" thought process. I'll share some examples with you. Growing up, I've had people call me forgetful or messy. While it may seem true from the outside looking in, it's a bit more complicated than that. The hyperactivity isn't always physical. It can also happen in my head. It feels like a billion thoughts happening simultaneously, each one going in its own direction. This usually creates an overwhelm that can cause physical paralysis, and this may look like laziness, but it isn't. It's like you just can't move. It's like a paralysis of sorts. This is the part where I sit and overthink everything down to the last minute detail. When my work is on display and someone notices the tiniest of details, it feels like it comes full circle for me. It feels like I didn't waste time doing all those things, and the overthinking process wasn't too bad. Sometimes there are those instances where people don't notice those small things, and that's okay. Remember that most people aren't trained to see what you see, or it just means that you did such a good job with the whole thing that the viewer feels like they're immersed in your piece. That's always a good feeling as well. There's a silver lining in everything if you look hard enough. From doing this though, for so many years, it just becomes part of you and who you are. And now I notice the dumbest shit, like how long dust has been collecting on the corner of someone's workbench that hasn't been cleaned in 3 years, 27 days, and 17 hours.
What the hell is this? You don't clean your room?
It means I have amazing intuition, and I see the micro changes in someone's facial expressions, or the fluctuations in their tone of voice. I'm a great judge of character, which also pushes me away from certain people. Phony is not in my nature or my wheelhouse. Life is way too short to be fake.
You're goddamn right.
Then there's life in general. The negativity surrounding me, whether it's the incessant drone of the TV, the venomous threads of social media, or the oppressive atmosphere of my neighborhood, often feels like a sledgehammer to my already cracked shell. Creativity in the storm is a rare jewel hidden beneath layers of chaos and dismay. But here's the twist. Those chaotic quirks, those mental disorders that many see as obstacles and add labels to, are actually my superpowers. At least that's what I figured out once I learned to harness their wild energy. The very traits that once seemed like obstacles now propel my art forward. Each punch I've taken, both literal and mental, has only strengthened my resolve and sharpened my focus. I'm proud of the artist I've become, and I'm determined to preserve the art of diorama creating before it fades into obscurity. Too many people and too many printers these days. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
I'm more of your unknown warrior.
Complacency is a real killer in the art world. That's for a whole other separate topic of discussion though. My competitive nature from my sports and fighting days drives me to constantly push the boundaries of my own creativity, not to outdo others, but to surpass myself. I've competed against people all my life. As a man, life in general is competitive. You compete for the gold star in class as a child. You compete with your siblings for parents' love and affection. You compete for that significant other. You compete for that starting role or spot on the team. You compete for your partner and loved ones. You compete for that job or raise. And if you manage to find yourself in an entrepreneurial situation, then anyone who's doing anything similar to the things you're doing will always be considered competition, irrelevant of the work actually being good or better than yours or whatever you have to offer. This journey of self-competition can make some people uncomfortable, and I'm okay with that. Growth, after all, comes with its share of pain, and I've come to accept that discomfort is an inevitable companion on the path to progress.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Through it all, though, I now have a bright light that guides me, my 3-year-old daughter. She's the reason I push myself so fiercely, striving to create something that will make her proud when she looks back at my work one day. It's the reason her mother and I make the sacrifices we make. I want to give back in ways I only wish that others had given to me, to ensure that my efforts and my sacrifices mean something beyond my own life. Every piece I create, every moment I spend working on is for her. It's to show her that even in the midst of chaos and pain, there's a way to forge something beautiful. Nothing makes my day more than hearing from a fan or a supporter who is inspired by something I did or something I said. It means my diabolical plan of pushing creativity out of people is working. I've experienced a lot of different things in my life, but I'm a regular guy just like you all. The only difference is I've learned from my own mistakes and the mistakes of others on the do's and don'ts when it comes to being creative and turning it into a living. Most people do this as a hobby. I do it as my job all day, every day. Eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff for well over a decade as a professional and countless years before that as a hobby. I want to share what I can to help you take your next step. Whatever that may be, just be prepared. It's not all rainbows and butterflies.
Butterfly in the sky.
We all have fears. It's normal. Let me share one with you all. One of my greatest fears is disappointing those around me, friends, loved ones, even customers. It's a fear that fuels my drive because quitting's not an option. Through every setback, my own hard-headedness, and even every challenge, I've managed to transform that ever-present hatred into fuel for my artistic journey. This relentless pursuit, despite the pain, is what drives me forward. I found a way to turn my struggles into strength. And it's this strength that I hope will inspire others to appreciate or perhaps even fall in love with diorama world creating as much as I have. I hope it inspires you to take some risks and not be afraid to make some mistakes. Isn't art all about the happy accidents?
Again, I say, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Let me know if you guys like this type of video, where I just sit and talk about a topic or two while I build something cool. No dio explanations, just keeping it real with everyone about my experiences on said topics. Did you relate to anything I said? Have any questions? What future topics would you like me to discuss on the channel? It's a little rough doing it all on your own, and when you couple that with the search for perfection, we end up paralyzing ourselves into doing nothing. This is just me doing something and throwing it out there, seeing what sticks. Still trying to figure out this whole YouTube jam. I'll let you all tell me in the comments below. And I'll leave you guys with this. In a starving artist's life, everyone has a role. Some may test you, most will unfortunately use you. Some will genuinely love you, and others will teach you. The ones who truly matter, though, are the ones that bring out the best in you. Those rare, amazing people, those are the ones that remind you why it's all worth it in the end. Deuces.